my name's Shaun Gladwell, and I've got an installation here that involves objects and videos. It's called MADDESTMAXIMVS Planet and Star Sequence. So it's kind of two titles joined into one.
The first thing you see when you approach the Australian Pavilion is a 1970s black Ford V8. Lovers of classic action movies usually recognise it as a replica of Mel Gibson's V8 Interceptor from Mad Max 2. And you might also notice a motorcycle sticking out from the side of the building.
To bring the car here, it's kind of it's a little bit crazy. The car becomes a kind of useless, dysfunctional sculpture because it's in a city without roads. It can't really go anywhere. You know, we don't have a security problem for this thing, and also the bike isn't really going anywhere because it's lodged into the side of the pavilion. So. You know, I'm kind of interested in what happens when you bring material from one place to another. What happens to that material? Like how does it work, or in this case, doesn't it work here? And that's kind of also a part of the show. It's always interesting to know if people will look at a car, or if they'll see a car connected to a film, or if they just see a car connected to my work. So it's kind of like, it's always interesting for me to see how people respond to this.
Beyond the Interceptor is the Australian Pavilion itself, and just like the car, it's all black.
I just really like the fact that it's kind of a matte black kind of surface. That it's kind of a surface to kind of project onto. Really, there's not too much detail.
This is a distinctively Australian exhibition, complete with kangaroos and a vast empty landscape.
And I guess I love the car because in the narrative of the film, this car was like the last of its kind. You know, it was kind of a car that was struggling to power itself. It was in an environment where there was no fuel, and it was kind of the end game for automobiles. And I kind of like that idea that this represents a kind of the last of its kind within that particular narrative. It was something that really affected me. It's something that informed my idea of Central Australia before I even got there, or the Outback before I actually physically got there.
The installation is made up of a combination of objects such as the Interceptor, motorbike, and several highly produced videos.
So I guess all of the objects in the show are connected to these videos. I'm just interested in other issues like the use of the kind of space itself, this space, not just this representational space in the video. And some of the objects, like the car, is like it's a prop from a film, and then I've sort of redirected that prop into another film. It's kind of like hijacking the car, carjacking it into another scenario. It's just a really simple idea of just someone wanting to try and observe an enormous space around them, and trying to find a vantage point, like trying to get some viewpoint, and that just happened to be to climb on top of this vehicle. So it was kind of a car surfing sequence where you look at someone looking. It's a kind of double looking, someone observing someone looking into space.
And it isn't an always comfortable place to be. There's pain, menace, but also empathy and compassion.
It's kind of like a black figure who you just kind of project onto. You know, it doesn't really have the figure doesn't really have an identity. And I kind of think that it's not a self-portrait. It's like sure, it's myself or my brother or any one of my family members or anyone who's had that experience where they've seen that scene in a space in the landscape. Not even in Australia, if they've seen that sort of scenario and they can kind of identify with that space. So it was kind of important that the figure was kind of anonymous and black.
This exhibition is about the Australian environment. Objects move and spin in both outback and urban settings.
I guess in a strange way, you know, like I was actually still inspired by Broken Hill, which is the kind of location where a lot of the films take place in this exhibition, and in that space, so much of this kind of human activity taking place there is subterranean. You know, it's like this incredible kind of mining town where you have these underground spaces. But I wanted to show this work that was a nocturnal kind of suite of videos of these people spinning at night. And some of them were in these underground spaces, but the locations are urban spaces. You know, they're not connected to the desert in any direct way. So it is a kind of an anomaly within the show, but in a very strange way, it was still connected to or inspired by a township in far western New South Wales. So it's sometimes it's not useful for me to have a complete consistency within the show. I wanted to have these various elements, and that was one of them. I guess I'm interested in this idea of a prosthetic, which is kind of in a strange way connected to the motorcycle and the car. You know, this idea of the body being extended, like the capacity of the body being extended or enhanced or connected in some way. Yeah, for sure. Oh, it's a thrill. Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's a great, it's a great space to exhibit work. But also, like, I'm a viewer of other people's projects, so it's great for me to see, you know, what the neighbours are doing, as well.
Fantastic. And what's the experience been like with the Australia Council?
Great. Yeah. No, it's great to have support to stage a show like this, because it's really quite a complicated process that involves a lot of teamwork, and there's a lot of elements in the show, and there's a lot of outsourcing, and so yeah, it's always a great thing to have a team that understands the problems before they even arise. Yeah, I'm really into the 1980s. I think I don't know.